So this is the commentary video and gameplay of one of my most favourite pinball teams of all time, the Iron Man Legendary Edition, which is a huge upgrade over the last version of this, which was the Ultimate Pro. So a lot of this is in the code. Tremendous amount of work in the code to make this game really shine. Lots of new features and enhancements. So the work I've done on it so far, after about 2 or 3 weeks is it now, I've been working on this. Obviously I've added side blades, you can see there, which really makes this thing pop out. And you know, if you've got an opportunity to mod your own tables, either real or virtual, it's always worth putting some artwork on the side here, because just black is just rubbish. On real pinball machines, I think they have a lot of mirror blades. I think mirror blades are popular on this machine, on the real world. I don't really like mirror blades. I think artwork is much better. And so we've got a back wall here, which tells a kind of a story of the bogey mode, which is on the ramps. So we've got the jets there, and I added a model there of a F-15, is it, or F-16 Raptor? I don't know. I think it's the same one that's in the films. Who knows? So that has lights on it which light up during that mode, and also when you hit the ramp. Lots of other little things as well that I've enhanced, like these graphics have been enhanced to be a lot clearer. The light inserts are being updated so you can actually see them now with individual textures on them, so the light actually comes from behind and not in front. It's got new spinners on it, so the spinners work correctly. I've moved them back because they were just about there, I think, just at the entrance, which kind of obscured the light inserts. So I moved them back to a better position. Color code. I changed the color of the ramps to sort of like a gold. I haven't changed the apron. I think the apron's fine. I did that a few years ago. I did the arc reactor button there, which fires the repulsor ray and does other things as well. And just an extra coin operated machine there of Iron Man, and there's a shelf there as well where you can change the photographs. Here you go. So you could put your own photographs in there. I just like big knockers. I mean, what man doesn't? So I put a couple of girls in there. That one's supposed to be a female version of Iron Man, and that's just a woman who's got the same kind of colour in as Iron Man with enormous knockers. Very appealing. So I mean, you can put anything in there. You can put pictures of your wife, your girlfriend, your children. You know, that can be done in the texture, by adding the textures. But what that does, it changes the balls per place. So that's 3 balls, that's 5 balls. And this all lights up as well. These speaker grills all light up. This is all custom made. You know, I made a better back glass, and there's this big hunk of a toy here which talks to you throughout the attack sequence. I always do this in my games. I make the attack sequences fun in my games. I'll get things either moving or people talking to you or specific types of music playing. That's very important when you're making a pinball game for people at home rather than on a because obviously if you're on location you can't hear a pinball machine for all the noise, but when you're at home, you know, it's kind of fun to play this and have it do silly things while you're just waiting for it to play. And it's just fun to just wait and hear everything that I've put in the game. So everything you hear in this game is the original cast. Everybody's in it, including Ben Kingsley in the 3rd film. So there's content in this from all 3 Iron Man films and some stuff from the Avengers. And it's nowhere near finished. I mean, I could spend years and years and years working on this and it still wouldn't be finished. It's absolutely chock full with stuff, but it's just constantly evolving. You know, there's no end to Future Pinball. You can just keep adding more and more code to any pinball game. Medieval Madness, Attack from Mars, you name it. You can add more code, more features, more of everything. It never stops. Future Pinball continuously evolves and continuously improves. It's incredible. This is why I've stuck around with it for so long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a quick 5-ball game. Oops. These 2 points. So I will stick with the movie soundtrack, but you do have the option to choose all kinds of different songs, including AC/DC, Iron Maiden, and what's the other one? Metallica. There's all kinds of different songs that you can choose for this game. Now the launch can be launched with the repulse array, which is the action button, which gives you full power, or you can launch it yourself. I'll just show you this by changing the angle. So you see the right lane there, so choose the power there. So what I'll do is I'll just go back to this view. So you've got manual, a choice of manual plunge or arc reactor plunge, or repulse array plunge, which fires it all the way around. But only the arc reactor, the repulse array, is the only one that gives you the skill shot. And the skill shot is to hit any of the drone targets, which will be flashing. So that's the only one that has a skill shot. Manual launch is designed really to either drop it short so it falls back to the right flipper, or to drop it into the top rollover lanes. So this thing plays so smooth, it's so fast as well. It's one of the fastest games I've ever produced, which is exactly what Iron Man should be. It should be one of the fastest pinball games ever made, and this is. It's so fast, you've really got to have lightning reflexes. I do have some options to make it a little bit easier. The ball can be fired directly through the flippers when you have a straight down the middle drain, but that only happens during the Ironmonger mode. I've done that quite a lot. Many games I've had the ball come back through the flipper, being ejected from the drain, which I think is a fun feature. I've never seen that on a real pinball machine. So the ramps now have 5 Iron Man missions. The first one is Bogey, and then you have save the villagers, then you've got the tank battle, then you've got Air Force One, and then you've got the Mandarin. So there's 5 ramp missions now. I think on the original game there's only the Bogey mode. But what I've done here is I've set them random, so one of 5 will start randomly rather than the first one each time. And this is Whiplash multi-ball. So this is quite a simple multi-ball. You just got to hit the flashing red arrows, which clears up all the jackpots, and then you hit Whiplash for the super jackpot. And his insert on the middle of the playfield there only lights when you collect the super jackpot, and that's the case in all of them. You know, you have to complete super jackpots to actually light their insert. Otherwise, the game would be too easy. And you'll also notice as well that the targets on the left and right, the Iron Man targets, are actually drop targets. On the original game, they're stand-up targets. I've said this before. Oh, we'll start Air Force One.
13, sir.
How many can I carry?
4.
So there are 13 lit targets. All the shots you can see are actually 13, including those drop targets on the left and right. So you've got to hit 13 to collect 13 passages. Now you don't have to. When if you see there on the DMD, the altitude is dropping, so the people are dropping. You can actually leave some of the passages to die and just cash in the ones you've saved if you want. It's up to you. So I've got 10 more passengers to save or rescue before they hit the ground. So to make it exciting, I've added some movie clips. And there's a tension movie clip there, which just plays when it gets to a certain length, just to give you an idea of what's happening. So at 10,000 feet, and I've got 8 to go.
You gotta work with me.
So that's very exciting. So that obviously doesn't exist on the real machine, and I wanted to add something which was just sort of like a different take on a hurry up, but it's kind of a hurry up where people are falling to their death. So if you don't hurry up, they will die. So that's a completely unique mode that I created for this game. And like I said, the ramp modes on this version will start randomly, but normally they will be in sequence. You start with Bogey, and you'd have to complete each one successfully to get all the way to the last one, which is the Mandarin with Ben Kingsley, which is very exciting. So let's see if I can get Ironmonger up. Ironmonger is any spinner. You can see the purple flashing light.
We're coming in hot.
You saw the toy there of the airplane at the back flashing its lights when it hit that ramp. So let's see if I can get... I should be able to hit all 3 spinners. Quite tough. Quite tough. That's one. So the Munger letters in the middle there are lighting up as I hit them, so it's like G. Ah! And I've actually changed the physics of those targets as well. Those drop targets have a more bouncy physics than normal. And this is what happens when you get a high score, you join the Avengers. Now, when I first did that clip, it was when the first Avengers film had just hit the cinema, so, you know, it was quite a novelty, but obviously it's no big deal now. Put any old bullshit name in there, LP... Hey.
I'm the best.
I'm the best. He is the best.
I had a feeling.
Alright, so as the combos there, the more combos you get the combo champ. High score as well. So the combos are left ramp, right ramps, consecutive shots. It goes up to 6. You can have 6 combos in this game.
Not bad, huh?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose... I'm going to go random. These are actually the music options. So this music jukebox was created in this game first, before it ever appeared in the real world. I think Stern pinched the idea for their AC/DC table many years later.
Online and ready. Commencing automated
They even cheekily adding the exact same playlist that I added to this game. But it's much better in an action game than it is on a dedicated band pinball game. I don't like band pinball games, they're so boring. And I actually did my own version of AC/DC's Stern's AC/DC table about 12-13 years ago, and you know, when I'd done it and finished it, I just didn't play it. So even the game I produced myself, I didn't even play it. I don't like them. I like them when they have a story. Like when I was working on Pinball Brothers Queen, I had the idea of creating a story, which was much more interesting for a band pinball game, rather than just sort of like collect the band members and all that rubbish. I thought, I'll have a story where there's a kid in his bedroom, he buys his first Queen album, and you just follow this kid as he grows up from being a kid all the way through his teens. He gets his first girlfriend, he goes to his first concert, he then eventually gets married, he has children. So it's like it follows the story of this kid as he spends his whole life listening to Queen. So that's the story I had for the Pinball Brothers Queen, which I started to develop, and the company went tits up. But I thought that was a much better idea than just having, you know, collect band members, hit the bumpers for drums, go to Wembley Stadium and all that, and a boring concert footage, which is what they created. So they have quite a boring game, but it could have been epic if they'd have just done what I suggested. And this has also got the music from Queen in it as well. This has got One Vision, which is one of my favourite songs of all time, which is perfect. Listen to the lyrics of One Vision, it's perfect for Iron Man. But I'm not concentrating here. I tell you what, if you think this is easy, try and do it yourself. And I know a lot of people do this. They have these elaborate setups with multi-cameras on Switch. And they do these commentary videos while they're playing their pinball games. But I'm doing something slightly different, because I actually made this thing, so it's a creator's commentary. And not just one part of this, I mean the whole thing. I did the whole thing, the script, the audio design, the build, some of the graphics, all the lighting programming. It's just an enormous amount of work, and not, you know, normally it takes an entire team a year to do one single pinball machine. I mean, the idea of just one guy doing the whole lot on his own in his spare bedroom is just ridiculous. But that's what I do. That's what I do with my free time. I just work on building these pinball machines. So, so this is one of Stern's better games. I think they released a Vault edition a few years ago. Obviously, it doesn't have all the licensed music. They can't do that. It doesn't even have the music from the films. They can't do that either. Back to Air Force One. So, Future Pinball really is the only place where you will get licensed, unrestricted music in pinball games, including motion picture soundtracks. You'll get access to all of the stars, everything. I mean, even the sound effects are all organic, which means I've taken them from the film. So you're not going to get these plinkety-plonk sound effects which sound like a casino game or a slot machine game. These sound effects are actually taken from the film to make them organic, and I do that across all my games. I always go through the film and I take out sound effects to make it sound organic. The most total immersive gameplay is what I call it. So I want the player to be in the world of the movie, and the only way to do that is to use everything in the movie. And normally I'd watch all 3 Iron Man films again, and I haven't done that yet, so I still need to add probably another 200, 300 quotes from the films. There's still an enormous amount of work to do. It's taken 2 or 3 weeks just to get to this stage, like fixing all the bugs and fixing the layout and the what do you call it, the physics, getting the physics just right so this thing's beautifully smooth, everything bounces around as it should. The lighting obviously is a massive part of my games. I see a lot of virtual pinball games where they just don't get the lighting right, they don't know what they're doing, mostly flat. The flashes just don't flash like they're supposed to. But you can see here with Future Pinball, when a flash goes off, it illuminates the entire playfield. I mean, everything is affected by the flash, the ramps, even the screws, you know, so it's proper flashing. And of course the whole thing is running in real-time 3D as well, so it looks stunning. Shall I buy an extra ball? Go on.
For you, sir, always.
And that's obviously Paul Bettany, who's playing the voice of Jarvis, as you did in the films. Paul Bettany obviously took on another character in the Marvel Universe, so he stopped playing Jarvis. I think for one of the Avengers films he disappeared and he was taken over by another voice because Paul Bettany was playing another character in the Avengers films. But you know, well done Stern getting Paul Bettany to do all voiceover work. And it's like J.K. Simmons in Spider-Man. You can get the actual real actors to play the real characters from the films. That is part of total immersive gameplay. That is taking you into the movie experience. And then they screw up with like Indiana Jones, where they had voice actors trying to replicate Sean Connery, and it was just awful. But if you're going to make a licensed pinball game, you've got to go all in. You've got to have full access to all the assets, otherwise don't bother. It's like Back to the Future. There's no way anyone could ever make a Back to the Future game as good as the one I created, because they just won't have access to everything, including Huey Lewis on the Newsies music, Alan Silvestri's soundtrack, Michael J. Fox. I mean, everybody, the entire cast is in that game. And for me, it's the best pinball game I've ever created. And it's my favourite pinball game of all time, is my original Back to the Future, purely because it has everything in it from all of the films. There are no restrictions. And that's what I try and do with all of my games, make them as close to the original as possible with no restrictions whatsoever. I don't want to play a game that has blinkety-plonk music created by an in-house musician. I want to play the actual music from the film. And nothing sounds better than the original Iron Man soundtrack. I mean, no in-house musician can match, you know, what was created in the films. And it's the same with old movies as well, like Jaws, Indiana Jones, Blade Runner. You just can't beat the original music. Air Force One again!
13, sir.
How many can I carry?
4.
So what I've done is, because I was testing Air Force One because it's such a complex mode, I've set it to play more frequently than the other ones, which is why, you know, we're seeing Air Force One more than the others. That's what I do when I'm testing. I have them play more often. I can change the order of anything in the game, but this one is so complex because there's a timer. You've got to collect 13 shots, and then there's when you get down to something like 5,000 feet, you've got an option to bail out and just shoot the single shot to charge reverse thrusters and save whoever you've managed to hang on to. But it's very difficult to get all 13 people. But in terms of pure excitement, it's one of the most exciting pinball modes I've ever created. It's right up there, probably one of the best. And it all just came about by watching the film. I thought, you know, I can make that into a really good pinball mode, and I do that when I'm watching any film now. I'm thinking of ways to convert it into a playable pinball mode, and you can. It doesn't matter what movie you watch. Any action-packed sequence can be converted into a pinball mode. Anything. As I've proven with Star Wars, you know, with the whole game based on the Battle of Yavin. On Jaws, you know, that's the sequence there where you're hunting the shark. It's just incredible. It's just like the film. And I got the high score once again. So this is just a very quick gameplay. The game can keep you entertained for many hours, and it's always going to be improving. and it's just remarkable what BAM can do now. I'm just absolutely blown away. There's just nothing out there that can match what Feature Pinball can do. VPX is fantastic at making recreations. It's the best. Pinball FX is... I'm not really sure about Pinball FX. I'm not really sure about those guys because, you know, I played Star Trek Next Generation, but it's just nowhere near as good as the one I created. You know, so I played it a couple of times, and I think I got a couple of high scores, and then I just realised that it's just the limitations of that game when compared to the freedom that I have with Feature Pinball, and that's why Feature Pinball for me is the very best. And while I'll continue upgrading all my games now to the very best versions they can be, the Legendary Editions. And with enough interest, I will gladly release them and you can all play them, but only if there's more interest in Feature Pinball than there is now. Alright, so that's enough from me, so I'll do one more video on Iron Man and then I'll move on to my next project, which is going to be a horror, and I'm going to just make a whole bunch of horror videos throughout the whole of October because it's my favourite time of the year. Okay, thank you for watching.